We are live, and it is Monday, August 2nd. Cannot believe the summer here. I'm your boy, Mr. Mortgage Walter Parker, along with the one, the only Jeremy Kane. Jeremy, how's it going today?
Good. How you doing, Walter?
Doing great, doing great. This is episode 1 of Monday Madness, and thanks so much for helping put this together and partnering with me on this. I'm excited about this, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Excited to just chat about the industry and hopefully lead it for better.
Yeah, for better, for worse. Here we go.
Yeah, absolutely. So today, just wanted to kind of lead in. Actually, today's a great day to kind of talk about this. I don't even know if you've seen this, Walter, but kind of talking a little bit of college sports here. The name, image, and likeness policy kind of hit full speed today when the Ohio State quarterback from Texas, that was supposed to be in the class of 2022, decided to forego his senior year of high school and enter Ohio State early. He is 18, but definitely some crazy things going on. And then you throw in the Texas, Oklahoma SEC thing and just a competitive nature and kind of an unbalance of power and kind of the SEC is kind of like the corporate world, in my opinion. They just took over. Obviously, they've been pretty dominant in the football world and just invited Texas and Oklahoma to join, which obviously are huge brands. So just talking about brands and things like that, Walter, what do you think about that college stuff, man? That's kind of crazy.
You know, it's interesting. I've listened over the weekend when I was doing all my honey to-do list to a lot of different commentators, and how many of them did not like the move. Although, you know, I grew up in SEC country, so this hits a little closer to home, I guess you'd say, being Florida, Carolina boy.
Yeah.
Even though my team is an ACC,
Yeah.
I do foresee as they are expanding, because didn't we expand to what, 12 teams down the college football playoff?
Not yet. That was on the books, and then the committee kind of put a halt to it. Actually, the Ohio State AD said, "Let's hold off on expansion." There's rumors that Ohio State and Michigan are looking at the SEC. So it could just be the SEC and then the NCAA is like Division II.
The SEC tournament, and we'll decide that from there, right?
Right. I mean, they think that anyways, but that's
yeah, I think it's interesting. A lot of the guys think this is eventually going to lead in the next 10 years, 10 to 15 years, to just one super league instead of having, which I don't think it's going to go that extreme. Although I could see it going into fours, right?
Yeah.
Because it kind of makes sense. You have the West Coast. If you had Pac-12, you have Big 12, you have ACC and SEC. That's it.
Big 10. Get out of that Big 12. Big 12's gone.
Excuse me. Big 10. I forgot, because there's 12 teams in the Big 10, right?
So there's 13 or 14. You know, it's weird.
Right? And if this goes through, there may be like 28, in the Big 10.
Yeah.
So I think you'll realign. You could just have like 1, 2, 3, and 4, or A, B, C, and D. I don't know. But yeah, it's really interesting. The whole thing is, what I hope we don't lose is, okay, Texas and Oklahoma, I could see them being SEC. But if you added a school like Ohio State or Michigan, there's no way you could have the word Southeast. You can have the South technically in Texas, not so much Oklahoma, but it's close enough. At least it's bordering Texas.
Right.
And a lot of my friends were like, "Isn't Texas the South?" I'm like, "No, it's not."
No, it's not the South.
It's not the South. It's like saying you never say Midwest and Colorado in the same sentence, right? We are not Midwest. We are the West Coast.
We are the West.
So
yeah, absolutely, man. So it's kind of interesting, and I kind of compare it a little bit to what's going on with the major players, the iBuyers in the real estate world, the iBuyers and the one-stop shop real estate people out there. We won't mention any names, but one starts with a Z. And it's just, I mean, they are the number one enemy as far as I'm concerned. And I've always kind of run my business, and I know you have too. You kind of went through it a little bit early on with the big Q up there on the lending side. And I kind of liken this kind of SEC takeover to kind of like what those companies are trying to do to the real estate industry. And I always talk about how there's not much my clients can get from the internet, and I talk about the experience and really building that up. And so, I mean, ultimately, realtors are my friends. Mortgage people are my friends. Like I just want to take down the mighty SEC, if you will. And
Well,
so, yeah, kind of interested to hear your thoughts on that. And
yeah, I think one thing that agents just do not realize is that the number one goal for the big box companies is to really do away with your commission structure. You
right,
know, it's huge, and we are basically feeding the beast. Every time we utilize them for leads, right? Because we feel like, hey, it's like a drug. I
yeah,
just gotta have my leads. Gotta have my leads. You got any more of them leads,
yeah,
type of thing. The problem with that is, yes, are they the Z word? Are they quality leads? Well, they should be. I mean, when you're paying 300 to 500, sometimes $1,000 a lead, you should have an extremely high closing percentage. But what that does is it's allowed them to gain all this information. It's allowed them to be funded very heavily by real estate agents at competing firms, which really, when you think about it, it's kind of crazy, right? That you're in competition with somebody, but you're giving them money to grow their company. And so, yeah, the big Q has been out there for a while. I don't hate on the big Q. I love that they actually have encouraged. I think you can look at it one of two ways. The big boxes are coming to destroy brokerages and everything else, or you can look at it as they're forcing them to move forward and step up their game, right?
right,
Because they're not doing anything that can't necessarily be duplicated in time. And really, with technology, social media, and Google, you can have a little more of a level playing field, but you just got to know how to utilize that. So in some instances, hey, more power to them. If they're improving the industry and improving the technology we use, making things much more convenient for clients, because what they're doing is they're listening to clients and they're
mm-hmm.
finding out what they want instead of doing real estate the same way it's been done for the last 40 years. And same thing with lending. Instead of doing the handwritten, I heard the word, have you ever heard the term dead terminal?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I never really heard that until I got into lending a couple of years ago, and we had a client that he was not happy with the process at the end. We're like, okay, what went wrong? He's like, no, everything was great. He said, but you had me use dead terminals. I was like, what's that? He's like, it's when I have to put down my phone, pick up a laptop, and actually print something out, or
Mm-hmm.
actually open up my laptop. I like to do everything on my phone. And I was like, wow. So that is really what maybe not every client wants, but there's a growing database of convenience out there. So the one good thing these companies are doing is they are making everything more convenient, but
Yeah,
at what cost?
right. At what cost, for sure. And that's definitely something that I talk about a lot. And the honest truth is, if the customer experience is better and you can get it done and you're taken care of and you're getting top dollar for your listing, or you're meeting somebody at the drop of a button and they're taking care of you and all your needs are met, like that's where it's at. And if you're versed in the game and you've bought and sold 10 houses, or you're comfortable with it, utilize the heck out of that technology and make your life as easy as possible. It's just those corners and those things and that I am concerned about, which kind of leads me into my whole philosophy about building relationships with agents and other industry professionals. I have to provide an experience for my clients that's second to none, because I know that these people are out there, and what the computer cannot do is everything outside of the transaction. As far as that goes, the computer can manage a transaction. They can say next steps. They can put this in front of you, say sign here. Ultimately, these companies are really out. What the Q didn't do was kind of take over everything. Eventually, the big box real estate companies, it started out a long time ago where, you could partner with the title company, the affiliated business thing, and so on and so forth. But these companies are taking the whole process and putting it in-house, and they're allowed to cut some corners here and lower some fees here because they're making it on this end with the lending or the title or, inspectors, and all that stuff's going to kind of come into play, I think. And
yeah,
so it's my job to make the experience in real life and 360, to help those emotions, help through the psychology of the stressful process. So that's a huge thing. And, I appreciate your willingness to help find a solution, teaching me how to develop my own leads through, another big box company, Facebook, but they're not in the real estate game quite yet. So,
no. And when they do, you could see them. I mean, definitely we're learning more and more every day about Google, right? And,
right.
And that's where I'm prepping up, long term. Short term is Facebook game, long term is a Google game. Google, you don't really hear anyone really going in depth on how to really leverage Google, something we're working on for our agents and our partners like yourself, in the background. And I never like to roll anything out without it being done. I think one big thing is, I heard someone say the other day, the big disadvantage with these big box companies is they're getting kind of free passes on compliance, where you and I would get nailed if we tried to rename something, and we didn't say specifically what it was. Which a lot of realtors don't know exactly how to. They haven't seen a fee sheet from, say, a Z word or open, open. You know what? And they have these convenience fees. They call them convenience. I don't know who it's convenient for, but other than the corporation, they want to not pay real estate agents a full commission, and they want to charge sometimes 9 and 10% of what you're selling your house for as a commission versus a traditional 6%. So, and they're not doing any of the work that the 6% commission would, but yet they're getting 10%. So
you're turning around and paying the next agent a full commission, and then they're taking double, 2.5 times usually. So
and those agents aren't getting paid anything. It's the company
salary,
and it's a company that's not your local neighborhood. So what does that do to the local economy? It also takes money out of the local economy, feeds it to a corporation that's trying to look good for shareholders. So there's a whole chain of events that happen on that. So the less dependent we can be on, buying quick leads, so to speak, and learning on how to convert, which you and I have talked a lot about conversion, what works, what doesn't work. We've tried, we've invested a lot of our own money into learning that. And it's an evolving process, right? So I think that's the number one thing that a lot of big box brokerages honestly do not know how to address, other than make 100 cold calls, go out and knock on 100 doors, work every open house. And not that those things don't work, but how many of those reps from the big companies do you see actually doing that? Zero, right? But they're surpassing the big box brokerages that are still doing things 30 years ago. So that's where I see this whole thing evolving and changing. And the real estate agent has to change with it. Otherwise, 10, 15 years from now, it'll be long gone.
Right. Yeah, and as realtors, we kind of oftentimes get caught up. Competition is huge. I'm a competitor. I coach high school basketball. Obviously, I like the sports, as we started in on the college football stuff.
I haven't seen your vertical, by the way.
Yeah, it's my vertical is not great. I was I was more of an agitator, so to speak. And I had good court vision, and my frame isn't quite point guard material except for the height. So. But that's, as you've taught me, and as all my partnerships have taught me, I strive every day to be helpful and give back to all realtors. Love sitting down talking, because whether we're talking about a deal we're doing, the next deal, or conquering the beast, and we're not competitors at the end of the day. And my boy Ricky Caruth always says, closings happen every day, and I truly believe that. Yeah. And, those are just things that I do on the regular, help people develop their business. I've been blessed to develop my business in a lot of different avenues, and I love sharing and different ideas and learning every day on that. So I know you're a big proponent. I've sat down with, other realtors with you, other partners, and it's not about the competition. It's about, hey man, how can we help each other? What's going on? How's life? And then, just support each other, because the real fight is not in our, agent to agent stuff. It's in the monster companies coming in and taking hold of the industry. So, and they're making that money, and they have so many streams of income that it's hard. And it's really hard for me to see agents just dump money into Zillow, thousands of dollars a month, and just funding the beast. And what do? They take that money and they purchase more data. They purchase the showing services. They purchase, whatever they want, and then they have really the data. And so every acquisition, they just get more and more powerful. And so
they do. And I can't say how many clients I've talked to, and they're like, "Hey, I'm just going to go for sell by owner and just utilize Zillow." And I'm like, if you know the numbers on that, and I know you do, and I'm like, hey, realtors need to be prepped and ready for that comment, on why should I use you? Well, on average, you're going to lose $20,000 or $30,000 more doing that yourself. You're not going to have the representation. You're all on your own. But Zillow has made it that accessible to where people think, hey, I don't need a professional representing me.
And sometimes you don't. Sometimes
you don't. You got to be careful.
Right. I've had mail it in deals that are awesome, go super smoothly. Everyone's happy, smiling, hugging at the closing table, pre-COVID, obviously. But you never know. Like, you never know when that's going to happen. And the whole point is to come together as a real estate family and really provide a service, because that's what we get paid for. Let's face it, we don't sit around the office and wait for the MLS book to come out every Friday anymore, and utilize that technology to, enhance your buyer, your seller's experience, but at the same time, make sure they're educated on what's the good of that technology and what's the bad. So, I just love sitting down, talking to people, always willing to do that. And I appreciate that you're willing to connect as well and go from there.
Well, you said service, and I think for an agent, it translates to the number one need, and that's support. How many times have you heard an agent switch companies because of what? Lack of what?
Right.
Support, and it is kind of, they go hand in hand, service and support. But that's what I've enjoyed, and what I'm looking forward to this program every week is providing some extra service and support. Whether you're a client, want to get kind of a little more educated, maybe even thinking about a real estate career, or if you're a realtor out there and you're not hearing this side of the table talk, you're hearing the same things that have been regurgitated for 20 and 30 years. We used to have that commercial, "This isn't your father's Oldsmobile." And this isn't, this isn't the same industry, and I don't mean that because your dad's in real estate, so that's right towards you, but at the same time, this industry looks different. I mean, I've been in banking for 13, 14 years. I mean, I was in there before 2008. I actually looked at subprime mortgages for a little bit. I didn't, and I got out of it really quick because I saw the writing on the wall. But so with all that being said, we're in a different day and age, and support is more crucial than it ever has been. And I think not only support for agents, but how agents support their clients. And it makes it very valuable. That commission, that percentage is nothing at the end of the day when you get that real support. And unfortunately, not all agents are equipped with that support, so it's hard for them to give it. But you're one of the top 1% in Colorado, from what I read earlier today, right?
Yeah, it's. I figured it out somehow, and I'm blessed to have some great mentors along the way. And it's just never burn bridges, and always work hard to serve. Hard to serve, and the minute that you become fully transactional is the minute that things start going downhill. And so that's my point, is these one-stop shops are fully transactional. That's what they are at their root. They don't provide any, hugs and lollipops. And they technically don't really care if the deal closes or you like the home or whatever, because if you don't like the home you're buying, or you're not educated in the market, you're just kind of going into it blindly. And then, all of a sudden we have, bad things happen, and overbuying and overspending. And, my biggest fear is a client calls me 6 months later and says, "This house sucks. I, made the wrong decision." So at this point we haven't gotten there, but that I think is pretty amazing as far as, what us as realtors can provide in the service, and flex and adjust and utilize technology, but don't fund technology, is kind of my soapbox for the day.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And hey, I wanted to also chat out and say on this, somebody was wanting to know if we can make this shareable. It should be shareable. Is it shareable? Have it set to everyone on your wall?
It's just on my business page, so we might have to figure that out.
We'll share. Well, hey, follow our personal pages. Mr. Facebook user, it doesn't tell us because you're not registered yet.
Yeah, we'll catch up with you on the back end.
We'll get you on the flip side, yeah. So this can be shareable. I'm looking forward to next week. I know our time's running here towards a close. Jeremy, you got any final thoughts or anything you want to talk about next week?
No, let's we'll figure it out. Kind of maybe talk a little bit about what's going on, but like I said, you know, this is going to be a fun time. We want to, you know, reach out and talk about things that are going on and how we can better the industry as a whole across the board, so that we can influence the big boxers, you know, to the sideline. There's a place for them for sure, but we got to hold on to what's right over here. So I appreciate this, and I look forward to it. Monday Madness every Monday.
We're going to level up the playing field, definitely. So stay tuned, and I'm looking forward to seeing you next week, Jeremy. Thanks so much for your time.
All right, Jeremy Kane, EXP Realty. We're out. Thanks, Walter.
Thank you.